introducing author J. Carson Rose. Rose is a graduate of Bennington College who seeks to use fiction in an exploration of the nuances of human nature. Here tonight to speak about her debut novel, The Grey Woods, which is the first in a planned series, please join me in welcoming J. Carson Rose.
Hi, everybody. So first, really thank you to Keith. I was emailing Keith for weeks and begging him for a spot tonight. And he finally conceded, so I appreciate that. So thank you to Keith and Book Revue. I cannot express how much this means to me. So I think the expectation is to come out and speak about the book. But I want to start by saying I think it's bigger than the book. It's a fantasy novel, right? So if you haven't read it yet, it's a fantasy. So I'm using this fictional journey for this one man to tell a very human story, something that we can all relate to. And I hope that when you read it, what you take away is a greater understanding. I didn't know what the book was about even until this week. We kind of live right now in these unsettling times, to be quite honest. And I think that we have to strive to connect to each other more, to love each other more, to believe in each other more, and also to believe in ourselves. And if anything, this book is the culmination of a whole lot of belief. 23 years in the making, I'm going to say it was. I read The Hobbit 23 years ago. So that was for me when it started, when I said, this is this other world that's completely possible that you can create. And that was it. My mind was blown. And I actually rewrote it. Sorry to Tolkien fans. I rewrote it. I added in a character that I sort of lived through and experienced his world and experienced the dark times. And I think his book really represented dark times and good people going through them, and what it was they learned and what it was they took away from that. And then I started to realize, we go through that now. We're kind of trying to find the connection to each other and to ourselves more and more every day. I think that this is a time of an awakening. So I realized it took 23 years to get the idea, right? 13 years actually writing my series, and about 3 years to pull book one together. And that happened so that it could be here tonight and right now. I don't think there's a more important time for it to be here. And everybody's here for a reason. Everyone's going to get something out of it, which is so exciting. And all of you are going to take something away that's completely different. So I don't want to say too much about what it's about, but I will say this. It's about walking in another man's shoes. And I cheated a little bit because it's a fantasy, I can do that. And I play with time. I play with another dimension. I play with a spiritual layer that this character, Finn, simple guy, nice guy, he'd help you change your tire, he's a good guy. He's observing his cousin, Medros, who he loves so much, and he's watching him make these really bad choices. And he doesn't really understand, and he's kind of judging him, and he's kind of upset about it. But through this use of this spiritual layer, through bending time, the book is told in 2 time periods, 3 years apart, he's exposed to his past, and he starts to see the reasons behind these present day choices. And I think until you really understand why someone makes their choices, you can't empathize, you can't connect to them, you can't have compassion. And he begins to have compassion and begins to go, wow, I get this guy now. He's so nuts, but I get it. And some of the people that have read it have said to me, I asked, so what do you think about Medros? Because he's a little nuts. And they're like, we love him. I'm like, this he's a complete nut. But so I guess right? Yeah, those of you who know, you love him, but he's a nut. And you're like, what is he going to do next? He's so unpredictable. And that's kind of sometimes how people are in our lives. They're unpredictable, and we don't understand why they've made a choice. So it's up to us to take a step back, and although we don't have the Grey Woods to bring us there to be exposed to their past, we have to take a proactive role in trying to understand why things happen. And once we do that, once we can understand each other it brings us closer. That would be a dream come true, right? If everybody can take that away, it's about the compassion and understanding. The journey is interesting because I get to pull in some other, really ancient kind of themes. I draw from Irish pre-Christian history. I'm going to Ireland in a couple of days, so that's so amazing that this is all coming at the right time, because I drew from their old mythologies, from pagan mythologies, Druid mythologies, just kind of pulled all that history in, borrowed it, used it. So a lot of that is in the book. The names that everyone cannot pronounce, Irish Gaelic. So you can thank the Irish for that. And they all mean something. Finn's name literally just means good looking. Finn Dothwell is how you would pronounce it, but it is an Irish Gaelic word, and I want to do honor to their history as well. Other elements, I would say, it's about an empowering of yourself. And what's interesting is that my high school English teacher is here, and I don't want to single you out. My high school English teacher, and he used to give us so much homework. I can't even tell you, right, Couchy? So he'd be like, okay, this is your homework. Read 3 books, write a 50-page essay.
All wise.
No, it's not. Because my mother had to do half of it. Yeah, that's true. But he told me a beautiful story about, we had, back then, right, we had a project called the Talking Tapestry, and we were all able to contribute poetry, and long story short, my mother was able to sew this tapestry together and bring Couchy's dream of this beautiful thing of everyone coming together. We were able to contribute to that and do that. And he told me tonight that he's here because all those many years ago, we empowered him because we helped his dream come true. And I thought, that's why I'm here tonight. And that's why I wrote my book. I hope that everybody can take something away and understand that even if you just look at the face value, here's this person, does real estate, she's crazy busy like everybody else in real estate that's here. Half of them are here, right? We have no time. My phone's still ringing right now. I have like my outgoing email, like, I'm doing a book signing. They're like, so what? We want to see this apartment tomorrow. I'm not working. And it gets so much noise, and we just have to peel back and stop and say, wait a minute, who am I? What am I? And why am I doing all of this? And be empowered. And I think part of it is I'm in real estate because I love people. Nuts, yeah. I love people. And I can see the good in everybody, and what's amazing is that there's some people here I don't know, but most of you I do know, and I know something about each one of you, and there's a connection. And being able to have a connection with every one of you is, why I do this, why I'm here. So I think I'm really saying thank you again. If you read the book, no pressure. You don't have to read it. You can read a couple chapters, it's fine. I'm not going to get angry. But if you read it, I do hope you take something away that's empowering and that teaches you a little bit more compassion. So if the guy in Target doesn't hold the door, you don't blow him up on Facebook as the biggest jerk ever. Well, you don't know. Maybe he got a weird phone call and he had to run. Maybe his wife's in labor. You don't know why that person made that bad choice. So just stop and think, why did that person make that choice? And Bedros is our great example in the Gray Woods. Why is he making these bad choices? Well, if we take a step back and we understand, we can have compassion and we can forgive and ultimately be more connected, which is what we need right now in the world. So, yeah. And I love all of you. You're all so beautiful. I love you. So I don't know if anyone has questions. I can still talk if you want me to. Anything you want, not politics. But if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer whatever. Don't be shy because we're all family here.
Yeah, I'm an outsider.
Outsider question, excellent.
I don't know what the book is.
Okay, so the book is called The Gray Woods. It's this kind of spiritual place where it's a meeting of all time and all past. All that was, all that is, all that will be converges in this one place. The main character, Finn, is actually dragged there, kind of against his own will, to be exposed to his cousin Bedros' past. when he's sleeping, when he's walking down the street, he kind of gets drawn into this other world, and it gives him this ability to have this compassion. So you have Medros, who was a former king. He's going through very dark times. There's a love story at the core of it. Of course, there's always a woman behind the broken man. So Medros is protecting this woman. She's in another place. She's in another city, and Finn can't understand, why aren't you just with her? Why don't you just help her, be with her? And Medros doesn't. So it's kind of a journey of understanding this person and his choices, set in a medieval type setting in a very dark time. You know, I don't want to say it's like Game of Thrones, but that's sort of the spirit of it. I take you on a very dark journey through this one man's life in order to then show you the light and bring you to that compassion. I don't know if that answers the question. Good.
And a fine job.
Thank you.
An insider, I guess.
He's an insider. JT, thanks for coming. He just had a beautiful baby boy. Congratulations.
I didn't have it.
I was going to say, you didn't have it.
Right. Well, hey, you had to be there.
So I know you're a big fan of The Hobbit, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. How's this different? What makes it different to you?
Well, I think technically speaking, how is it different? Number one is I use present tense, which when I tried to traditionally publish, it got rejected plenty of times just because I didn't use the right tense. I have a screenwriting background, so the structure of the book is like a screenwriting kind of novel hybrid. So I focus really on the dialogue and the action. It's what I see in my head. I'm just kind of recording like I'm watching television. So that's one of the big differences, is the structure of it and how I wrote it. But I think also ultimately the use of the time change, going back and forth, flipping back and forth. A lot of authors will use flashback, but they pretty much stay in this past kind of going on the story. I'm going all over the place. I'm bending time, and it's moving quick, and I hope that obviously everyone can keep up with it. But yeah, I would definitely say it would be the structure and how the story unfolds. My Aunt Sarah! Okay, don't hurt me.
Just want to know what in your own personal life led you to be attracted to fantasy?
Yeah, I think I might have said it already to someone. I read The Hobbit in 7th grade, and at that point, you know, it was always an escape. A fantasy is different. It's just different than what we do every day, and I like different. I could have wrote a self-help book about how to be nicer to each other. I could have just done that, right? But would you have read that, Michelle? Michelle hates that book already. She hates that book. She did not attend that book signing. So I think the fantasy, it gave me an opportunity to explore themes that might be close to me that I don't have to then admit maybe that they're close to me. So I think there's also a veil, there's security in being a step away from it. But also, and this is going to be weird, but most people already know that I'm weird, it doesn't matter. I do think that this story is coming to me from a greater source and from a greater place, and I don't think I had really much choice in what it was, who it was, where it was. It is definitely a good way, when you go into the fantasy genre, it's a really good way to represent themes that we all live through without cramming you with it, without giving you, you know, this is right now and this is so real. No, so you can lose yourself in another world and enjoy the story, I think, even more. That's a good one, Sarah. Michelle, behave.
I will, I promise.
Yeah.
I have a comment and then I have a question. The one comment that I have is something you said that really struck a note with me because we've known each other for so long, is that you do what you do because you love people. And we went to college together, we shared a room for I don't even know how many years, shared a bed for I don't even know how many
Yeah, my
years.
college roommate, folks, so
Yeah.
be easy.
But we both went into vastly different professions, but for the same reason, which is that we love people.
Right.
Which is super amazing, because I'm so proud. It takes so much effort to write a book. We were in screenwriting together, and writing was never my forte. So, first of all, I'm super proud of you that you wrote a book. It's huge.
Thank
My question is, if you could hire anyone or have anybody write a soundtrack for your novels,
You know that I've thought about that.
We never talked about it though.
You know I've thought
I
about
just
that.
had that question.
So, alright, so HBO comes up, wall, and you hear bum, 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 bum. Yeah, well, instead you're gonna have like Eddie Vedder. I would say Eddie Vedder's gonna make an appearance with a little banjo. Yeah. Marie Elise has a question. I see you thinking about it. I totally just singled you out, like in this crowd. You mad? I could.
Those are my
Blushing.
initials.
Mad her initials, so she is mad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for all of us.
And thank you for driving from Brooklyn in the traffic.
Actually, we drove from Sag Harbor, so wasn't that bad?
Oh, you had a nice day. You had a better day than me. I was in Queens.
So you're going to Ireland.
Yeah.
Have you already started production on writing the next piece?
That's actually interesting because I did start the next book knowing that Ireland is a big influence historically. I think it would be really interesting to kind of hang out and go to Ireland and go somewhere quiet and see what happens and see if the environment, because the environment does sometimes really impact what you say and how you write. So I actually have thought about that. Maybe I'll pause on book 2, go to Ireland for 10 days and see what I come up with.
Well, other than Sicily, for all my Sicilian friends, spiritual places on earth, I do think that Ireland is probably one of the most spiritual places that I've been to.
It definitely is. Yeah, and I'm drawing from that. Like I said, you already know I'm weird. I'm drawing from it, and this is weird. I'll add. One of the cities is called Rock in the book, and it's this beautiful kind of gray stone. I said gray stone, so my Jackson Heights people are like, we know the gray stones. Yeah, real estate reference. So there's this beautiful like palatial, buildings in Jackson Heights. Like they're like imported like gray stones from like Vermont, and they're these beautiful. Like you go down 8th Street in Jackson Heights. I didn't mean to do a listing presentation, but I'm just like, where am I? Europe? Where am I? It's amazing. So this same kind of look I brought into my city block. And then I bought like an Ireland calendar, because you have to have a calendar. What are you going to get? Puppies, what are you going to get? Boats, so I get Ireland, right? What are you going to get for your calendar? And I flip the calendar, stop it, and there's Brock. And it's called Kylemore Abbey. And I'm going to go see it. And I was like, wow, maybe I'm not completely out of my mind, and maybe I really am tapping into the source that we're all connected to, and it's coming down through time, and I'm channeling something from Ireland. So, yeah, it might be really interesting to go to Kylemore Abbey and see what I come up with. Yeah, Danielle, you have one?
Would you like to make it into a screenplay or a movie?
So this is the secret. They are already screenplays. They're done. Do you know somebody?
I actually...
The ultimate goal is, because I write it like you're watching it. I mean, people have read it, have said it's like watching a movie. It's meant for the screen. It's written for the screen. I'm ready to go. I just need to meet the right dude.
Or lady.
Or lady, you're right.
My dude, she meant both.
Right. Thank you. See, these people know me, man. They know me all the way through. But yes, you have another question?
Yeah, there's 2 parts. Who would you have play Finn? If you could?
I haven't found them yet, but you know that I check out actors. I Google like hot blonde actors.
You know who would be
I know, like this is called the TMI session. I do, and I look for actors, and I'm thinking, who could ever, just as long as he's,
Jude Law.
I'll take suggestions, that's for sure.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris
said Chris
Hemsworth.
You found that one.
Isn't he Thor?
Yeah.
Nah, not Thor.
What about Charlie Hunnam?
I don't know who that is.
The guy from Something About Our Gate.
Send me some pictures and we'll talk. All right, so we're good, Keith? Keith is happy. Keith wants to get us signing. All right.